a deeper look into Project 2025. But before we get started with this demonstration, let me read my copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Everything that you hear in this demonstration is only allegedly. Now, Project 2025, building for conservative victory through policy, personnel, and training. Now, many people believe that that's Donald Trump's way of taking the country back into slavery. We've even heard Donald Trump make reference to he didn't know anything about Project 2025. He also said good luck to them, but he didn't know anything about it. Now, Project 2025 is a historic movement brought together by over 100 respected organizations from across the conservative movement to take down the deep state and return the government back to the people. I don't see anything wrong with that. Now, I'm going to be going over three of the Project 2025 policies that I want to go over. However, I'll take you all to some legal experts and they'll go over other things. So there's three things that I'm going to be going over in this demonstration. One of it is secure the border, finish building the wall, and deport illegal aliens. Also, de-weaponize the federal government by increasing accountability and oversight of the FBI and DOJ. Also, I'm going to be speaking on the ban of biological males from competing in women's sports. Salute to For Life. Appreciate you for pulling up. But I'm going to go first to the legal experts and hear what they have to say about the Project 2025. But keep in mind, I'm going to come back and I'm going to give my commentary on those three policies that's pertaining to Project 2025. Salute to For Life. Appreciate you.
Welcome to the project. We're live from the lands of the Kulin Nation, and to help break down Project 2025, Bill Wyman from the website The Politics joins us now. Bill, look, there was a lot of talk going into the first Trump presidency about this kind of thing, that Trump would dismantle the US government and leave it in ruins, but look, it survived. Is this just more fear-mongering from his political opponents?
Well, it is and it isn't. And I think what happened in the first Trump presidency is they came in unprepared. He's obviously a pretty incompetent administrator. It was unfocused. He kept hiring and firing people. And in fact, they actually didn't get too much done, though of course he did do some very consequential things. And now this time, I think the thinking is, hey, let's hit the ground running. And there is some debate as to whether this is a Trump initiative or isn't or whatever, but it is clear that the forces in the right are ready to go to work on the very first day if he does happen to get reelected.
But Bill, I think a lot of people will look at this plan and say, okay, Trump wants to install his own people in government, but surely that's what every single other politician does when they get into office. So why is it any different?
It's really true. I mean, I have to...
And I like that. What's the difference if Trump brings in his people? Other presidents did it. So what's the difference? But let's hear what my man has to say about that. And that was a good question. I see you, no reply. No reply says, do you know that Obamacare, salute Jamie, salute Jamie. No reply says, do you know that Obamacare is Romney Care and the Heritage Foundation wrote Romney Care, which is Obamacare, which means Project 2025, wrote Obamacare. Are you aware of this? And I made mention of this. Appreciate you for highlighting that, no reply. I made mention of this, that the Obamacare, that was something that had already been on the books. But when Obama got in office, Obama just was, pushing, and then Trump, I believe Trump is the one that actually named it Obamacare. Now, I could be wrong as far as who actually named it Obamacare, but I do know that that was already on the books before Obama even got into office. Appreciate you for giving me that no reply.
People in government, but surely that's what every single other politician does when they get into office. So why is it any different?
It's really true. I mean, I have to say this story, it's at once I don't want to say it's at once overblown and underblown. It's a little bit overblown in the sense that the Heritage Foundation, which is the genesis of this, has been doing this for a long time, for decades. So every 4 years they say, oh, if the Republicans get in, here's a blueprint of things that they can do. Now, the reason it's crazier this time is twofold. One is that the actual ideas in it are radical even by Heritage Foundation standards. And people should know the Heritage Foundation is a right-wing think tank in Washington that has gone progressively more deranged over the past 8 to 10 years. But then the second thing is that Trump is seen, for all his self-braggadocio, I think he's seen behind the scenes as sort of a pliable, incompetent, buffoonish figure that people can use to pursue their own agendas. I think this is most famously evidenced by his choice of Supreme Court justices. It's obvious that Donald Trump has no actual feelings about legal ideas at all. He's obviously someone who would have supported, for example, a woman's right to choose for most of his career. So he actually doesn't have anything invested in it. And because of this, people think they can get away with, in this case, something close to murder.
Key question is how much Trump actually believes in this. He says he doesn't agree with it. He also says he hasn't read it. Is it possible that this just is not his agenda?
I really, really doubt it. It's really funny, the Trump himself and the Trump people, actually, they're so good at working the media in a certain way. And that when we talk about this story, we should start with saying 2 years ago at the Heritage Foundation, Trump said, hey, the Heritage Foundation is so great, they're creating the blueprint and the plans for exactly what we're going to do when we get back into office. Okay, so he said that 2 years ago, and then 2 years later they say, okay, here's the plan you were talking about, and he goes, oh, I don't know anything about that. And so I think we have to remember that what we do is often the media presents these stories and then presents a denial from Trump, and maybe what we should do is tell the story in a chronological fashion, make it clear that this is his plan, this is part of his agenda, and what he's doing now is, again, just not to mince words, bald-faced lying the way.
All right, y'all. Now, I'm going to point out the 3 things in this Project 2025 that I would like to talk about. Make sure y'all double tap. Get my likes up. Double tap the screen and hit the like button. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right. Now, what I want to talk about that's in the Project 2025, the securing of the borders, finish building the wall and deport illegal aliens. I'm all for that. I'm all for that because, like I said before, it's not fair to us. It's not fair to white Americans. It's not fair to black Americans. And it's not fair to legal immigrants that these illegal immigrants come to this country and get more than what we're getting. Shank, you being selfish. Well, then let me be selfish. Because for surely y'all got to know, we wouldn't be able to go to any of them other countries. We wouldn't be able to go pull up in Mexico. And Mexico government, the Mexicans treat us the way that these aliens get treated over here. We wouldn't be able to go down there to Latin America. We wouldn't be able to go to the Dominican Republic. We wouldn't be able to go down there to Venezuela. We wouldn't be able to go to these other countries as immigrants and get what these illegal immigrants get when they come here. Now, the weaponizing the federal government by increasing, and please listen, and for everybody that's from the Shanquilla Robinson case, please listen, de-weaponize the federal government by increasing accountability for who? For the FBI and the DOJ. Accountability. And if y'all know anything about the Shanquilla Robinson case, you know the DOJ did not prioritize that warrant for the arrest of Dejanay Jackson. So I know that everybody from that Shanquilla Robinson sector, I know y'all should definitely be in agreement with this. Now, the banning of the biological males from competing in women's sports. That should be number one. That should be number one. That's a coward. Anytime that a man, that's like me playing basketball with the women. I ain't taking from the women. They could probably ball harder than me. But that's just not fair that me being born a grown man, me being born a man, why should I want to play in the women's sports when I should play with the men? Won't they just, and this is what I don't understand, won't they just have their own league? Why they don't make their own league? Why it just can't be a transgenders league where they go play basketball, they go play football, they wrestle, they do whatever it is? Why are they so obsessed? Why are these men so obsessed with playing women's sports? My man, you wasn't born a woman. And I don't care what you think. And I don't care how you feel. You're not a woman. Even if you had an operation, you still not a woman because that's not what you was born. This is the problem I'm telling y'all. This is the problem that they have with Trump. The problem that they got with Trump. Trump comes to restore order. It ain't no order in this country. No Reply said, the For Life says you better know it. No Reply says it's a fetish for them. The For Life says ridiculous is what it is, Shank. I mean, come on. Like, there's no order in this country. And when he speak about make America great again, I broke it down for y'all. And I'm going to break it down for y'all again. What he means about make America great again. Jamie says, that's so true, Shank. I can't pronounce your name. Says, oh man, that is a big problem now in public schools. Trump is bringing the Bible back. That's what these kids need. Come on. I'm not saying that we got to agree with everything that Trump says. I'm not saying we got to agree with everything that any president says and does. But that right there, if you disagree with that, if you disagree with the banning biological males from competing in women's sports, if you disagree with that, it's no way in the world that you can claim to be a Christian. It's no way that you could claim to be a Muslim, a Jehovah's Witness. It's no way that you can claim to be a man, a woman, or a child of God. I'm just keeping it 100. Now, you can disagree with Trump about all of the above, but if you can't see that when he's talking about banning these males that were born biological males, he banning them from the sports. How would you feel? I tell you what, how would you feel if you had a daughter? All right, you had a daughter, and your daughter was competing against a man. Ain't that what happened in that case where the transgender, I think, broke the woman's skull or bruised the woman real bad? Come on, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. No Reply says there are two types of pelvic bones. Men have one type and women have a different pelvic bones. No matter if you cut your junk off, you ain't changing your pelvic bones. That's facts. I think this time around he is going to make bigger changes. Elon Musk is part of his team and he doesn't care that he is autistic. What about boys and girls school washrooms? That's a big no to me. That's facts. And see, now I understand it. When he first was in office, his first term, he was up against a lot. I mean, it was like any and everything that he was trying to get the House to pass, he was running into all kind of problems with the House of Congress. Then those that was on his team, he was running into some problems with them too as well. However, I think some of them, not all of them, some of them was trying to lead Trump into a more professional approach. And I think that's where the bumping of the heads came at. Trump coming in as a businessman. Trump not coming in as a politician. So he don't know how to play by the politician rules. I've done that. I'm sure all of us have done that once upon a time in our lives. We get put into a certain setting and we're not comfortable with that setting. So naturally, we're not going to move the way that everybody else is. We're not going to move the way that everybody else move. Because if I come in as a businessman and if it's a politician world, then you already know I'm not going to move as a politician. I'm going to move as a businessman. So I believe Trump's first time around, he came in as a businessman. He didn't come in as a politician. So those that was on his team, those that was trying to get him to move more political correct, move more professional, move more diplomatic, I think that's how they kept bumping heads. And you know, Trump, he just wasn't going for it. No Reply says, like the swimmer was ranked 400 in men, they switched to women and they set all the swimming records and became #1. That proves that men are at least 400 times better at sports than women. It's not fair. It ain't fair. You ain't giving them a fair chance. And I know women want to be treated equal. And I get all of that. But it's just some things that a man can do, a woman can't do. Vice versa. It's some things that a woman can do that a man can't do. I mean, hey, it is what it is. And look, the Creator created us different. So you got to take that up with the Creator. The Creator created us male and female. It's a reason why he created us male and female. He put in that man what he didn't put in that woman. That's why in the last demonstration I said the woman was created to be a helpmeet. The woman wasn't created for the man to beat and bash. No. So when it comes to banning these men from these women's sports, I pump my fist for that. And you should pump your fist too. Salute, Brother Nazir. Salute. So the Project 2025, many was under the impression that Trump is the one that created the Project 2025. But as I said earlier, Project 2025 is a historic movement brought together by over 100 respected organizations from across the conservative movement to take down the deep state and return the government back to the people. So you got to look at the over 100 respected organizations that came up with this Project 2025. See, one thing that I notice about people, you can do 100 things right. You could do 100 things right. You do one thing wrong, all 100 things that you done right, it all goes out the window. And people are only focused on that one thing that you done wrong. Yes or no? Yes or no? You could come up with 100 fantastic ideas. You could come up with one idea that ain't too good. People is going to throw out all the 100 ideas that you did come up with, and they only going to focus on that one thing. Now, when you talk about the Project 2025, and when people talk about Project 2025, they only take out of Project 2025 what they need to take out of it to twist the narrative to make Trump look bad. It's the same way they do with the Bible. It's the same way that they do with the Bible.
Tax season is here. Randy Marion Ford in Statesville has
God specifically told you don't do this. God specifically said man shouldn't lay with man. Woman shouldn't lay with woman. But do y'all see how in this society, do y'all see how we get twisted? Now you got the average American running around saying what they do and what they do behind closed doors is their business. Who am I to judge? At one time, it used to didn't be like that. At one time, the American people had morals. The American people had principles that they stood on. The American people had values. That's the Make America Great Again. It don't got nothing to do with taking us back in slavery. Shank, America was never great. Compared to today, compared to the morals, the values, and the principles that Americans stand on today, it was a time when America was great. But as I said, anything that Trump says, the people is easy to twist it. No Reply says Magnus Hirschfeld was a Jewish doctor, sexologist, and LGBTQ advocate who is credited with coining the term transvestite. My middle son is in middle school, and they caught a boy giving a boy a blowjob in girls' washroom. Wow. Brother Nazir says, that's how our people judge each other with haste. We're very ungrateful and unappreciative. And that's facts, Brother Nazir. All the good things that you've done, all it takes is one thing. All it takes is one mistake. That's it, one mistake. The man made a mistake. The man apologized to him. Remember Michael Vick? Look what they done to Michael Vick. They sent Michael Vick to prison for dog fighting. Democrats are like the church, a bunch of fearmongers. The Democrats got this country turned upside down. They got this country turned upside down. All right. Let's see what this brother is saying, because this brother is saying how Project 2025 is a direct attack on black people. Let's check it out, y'all.
In January 2020, it has continued. In fact, conservatives are planning to level it up. I'll explain in just a minute. Mr. Justice, I am one half of the Defiant Lawyers. Each and every week, we bring you a legal analysis of some story trending about politics, policies, personalities, or pop culture to empower you with the information you need to defy an unjust legal system and to nullify systemic racism. If that interests you, please subscribe, like, share, comment, and click the bell so you'll get notified. Dealing with some minor coughing and sneezing and so on. I guess it's the change of the weather. And to ask, what is Project 2025? And it's a little bit surprising that more people do not know what Project 2025 is, since the Heritage Foundation has been talking about it and it's all over their website. Conservatives are planning this tremendous government takeover, but it takes a while for things to sort of get around to the American public. So it's beginning to make its way around the country, and again, folks have begun to ask me what it is. And so I thought this would be the appropriate time to do a video on Project 2025. As the title of this video says, it is an existential threat to our democracy. Again, Project 2025 is an existential threat to our democracy, at least as we know it.
Now I want y'all to pay attention. According to him, Project 2025 is a threat to our democracy. Our democracy. All right? Keep that in the back of your mind for a second. He says Project 2025 is a threat to our democracy.
Now, existential threat means it threatens the existence of our democracy, literally. And you'll see what I mean when I get into a little bit of what the conservatives are planning for our country, especially if Trump or some other conservative wins in 2025.
So, for all those that feel like Trump is going to take us back into slavery. For all y'all that feel like Trump, according to my man right here, he says, if any conservative, so it don't even necessarily have to be Trump, according to him, he says, if any conservative gets in office. But let's finish, y'all. Let's finish listening.
That's why it's called Project 2025, okay? So it is literally a takeover of the government and a dismantling of certain parts of the government.
Let me stop and let me ask y'all. Has the government of the United States of America, up until now, has the government been fair with the American citizens? I'll let y'all answer that yourselves. Up until now, has the government been fair with the American citizens?
So let's talk about it a little bit. I'm not going to take a lot of time talking about it because they have really laid it out and it would require more time than I have in this video. But let's take a brief look, an introductory look. I'll be doing more videos on what Project 2025 is all about in later videos. But for now, let's go to the Heritage Foundation website. The Heritage Foundation is a conservative think tank that has been around, as they say on their website, for about 50 years, driving and spearheading the conservative movement in this country. And so they have come up with Project 2025.
Salute Short Stack. Salute SAS Beach. Now, SAS Beach says no. They tax the hell out of us. So if Project 2025 is about dismantling the government, and the government been pimping us, if the government don't give a damn about us, what's the problem? You can't make this up. How is it that? The government hasn't been fair to us, but we don't want the government to be dismantled. We got a problem with Project 2025 because it's about dismantling the government. You can't make this up.
A little bit of what their goals are here. So this says, with the Biden administration half over and with the immediate dangers inherent to one-party rule in Washington behind us for now, it's past time to lay the groundwork for a White House more friendly to the right. not friendly to the American people, whether right, left, or center. No, to the right. For decades, as the left has continued its march through America's institutions, conservatives have been outgunned and outmatched when it comes to the art of government. One reason is because the Republican establishment never moved on from the 1980s. Now, what happened during the 80s? Well, Ronald Reagan. That's what happened during the 80s. Ronald Reagan was president from 1981 to 1988, 89, about 8 years. I remember very well. And he was as conservative as they come. In fact, I remember when former President Reagan he started his campaign like Trump. You remember Trump started his campaign coming down the escalators, I think in one of his hotels, and began to say some very disparaging things about Mexicans. We all remember that. Well,
Let me just say this, y'all. Let me say this. And I'm gonna let him finish. I'm gonna let him finish, y'all. Let me just say this. And this, when I have to even come for my black people, why is it okay for some people to talk about other ethnical groups? Don't think for 1 second that black people don't talk and make fun of white people. Don't think for 1 second that Mexican people, Hispanic people don't talk bad and make fun about black people. Don't think for 1 second that white people, why are we so sensitive? When let's say for instance, when black people make fun of other ethnical groups, other race, is that right? No. But black people still make fun of other races. Black people mock Chinese people the way they talk. Black people always talk about white people and other ethnical groups, other races. Why do we get to pick and choose when it's okay to talk about another race of people? This is what really attracted me to Trump. No matter what Trump done, no matter what he said, it was always twisted. He talked about the black jobs. He talked about the immigrants coming and taking black jobs. Black people gave Trump hell about that. What does he mean, black jobs? What is he talking about, black jobs? Why, when it comes to this whole race thing, why, when it comes to it, why are we so sensitive? I just wanted to say that because this brother mentioned about Trump talking about Mexicans.
Ronald Reagan did something equally offensive. He started his campaign in, I believe it was Money, Mississippi, where Emmett Till had been murdered. Yes, he literally did that. So he was sending a strong message to the Confederates, to white conservatives, to white supremacists, that he was definitely one of them. And that's exactly what Trump did. So here, the Heritage Foundation is saying they did not move on from the 80s. They did not move on from the Reagan administration. And Reagan really changed things. I'm old enough to remember it very well. The 80s were right after the 70s, and the 70s were a pretty decent time for African Americans. There was a lot of African American pride in the air. There was the time of big afros and high platform shoes and said loud and black and I'm proud. Well, the backlash for all that black pride and black power was Ronald Reagan. And the backlash for 8 years of the first black president is Donald Trump. Okay? So you see the parallels? Every time there is some movement to move the African American community forward, there is some backlash, some harsh backlash to try and put that genie back in the bottle. so to speak. So that is, in a nutshell, what Project 2025 is all about. And yes, it is centered around one man, Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump. Okay, if he is reelected with all of his criminal charges and indictments and impeachments and grievances and so on, they plan to hit the ground running. Project 2025 is their effort to hit the ground running. So let's go back to the Heritage Foundation's website.
See, this, for me, this is where I'm at, y'all. For me, all right? When it comes to Trump, okay? All the things that they try to attach Trump with, racist, prejudice, taking us back into slavery, rounding up the good old boys. These things, police brutality, it's been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years. We don't need Trump. We don't need Trump to keep racism alive. Racism is well alive, whether Trump is the president or not. I'm just trying to find out why. Why do the people, I see you, Stephanie. Why do the people attach all of the negative things that's been already going on in this country? Why are they trying to attach it to Donald Trump?
One reason is because the Republican establishment never moved on from the 1980s. Beltway conservatives still prioritize supply side economics and a bellicose foreign policy above all else. Belief in small government, strangely enough, has manifested itself in a belief among some conservatives that we should lead by example and not fill all political appointments. Belief in the primacy of the national security state has caused conservative administrations to defer political decisions to the generals and the intelligence community. The result has been decades of disappointment. They go on to say some other things here, basically again expressing their grievances and their desire to take control and get in power over the federal government. And they have basically broken down this Project 2025 into 4 areas. Let's look at them. The first pillar, the upcoming production of the policy book Mandate for Leadership. The second is our online personnel database. The third is our Presidential Administration Academy. And the fourth and final pillar of the Project 2025 is our playbook. So you see they got these 4 pillars here. First, there's the Mandate for Leadership book, which is a policy book. The second is the personnel database, which will consist of all these conservatives, primarily white conservatives, some blacks, as long as they are willing to promote white supremacy, black conservatives can be a part of this as well. And then the third pillar is, again, the Presidential Administration Academy, which will teach the president and all his or her men what to do on day one to start moving their conservative agenda into the American society.
And I'm going to stop right there, y'all, because I'm not going to hold y'all that much longer. Did you hear him when he made mention to a few blacks? A few blacks were a part of it. And he said that as long as these blacks had white supremacist views, and this is, go back to what I said, as far as it's no longer a black thing. It's no longer us against them when it comes to race, because you're going to have just as many black people on the side of the white supremacists as you're going to have many white people on the side of us, helping us push for freedom, justice, and equality. So we got to change, and we got to look at things different. especially with the majority, not going to say majority, but a great percentage of us being in interracial marriages, interracial relationships, and a large percentage of us are men. Let me read some comments and then we're going to get out of here. The truth is that white people are black people's best friends in the world. We have never given up on each other. That's facts. That's facts. Jesse Jackson is credited with popularizing the term African American in '88 when he publicly urged black Americans to use it, urging that it better reflected their historical and cultural identity. That's facts. Stephanie says, I see you, Stephanie. SASB says, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Stephanie says, Shank, it's not about being sensitive, but it's about what one race feels that another race don't feel, that other races are equal and deserving of the same as theirs. Stephanie says, that's not to benefit us. That's to make us less and less protected based on what we know, and our children will know about their history as well. Salute 80s, baby. The three things in Project 2025 that I identify is the securing of the border, finishing building the wall, and deport illegal aliens. All right, Stephanie, appreciate you for pulling up, Stephanie. Also, de-weaponize the federal government by increasing accountability and oversight of the FBI and DOJ. Under Project 2025, the FBI and the DOJ is going to have some accountability. See, these are some of the things that they're not going to mention when it comes to Project 2025. They're going to take from Project 2025 what they think they can take and twist the narrative. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So why isn't this brought on the forefront, the banning of biological males from competing in women's sports? Remember, under the Biden administration, Kamala, under the Democrat Party, they don't have a problem with biological males competing in women's sports. They don't have a problem with that. I'm just saying. So we want to focus on it all. We just don't want to focus on parts of it. Oh, Shank, he going to mess up the democracy. I'll get into the democracy part. I'll get into that on another demonstration, because that's a whole new another demonstration when it comes to the democracy of this country. You know, we got to really look at what's in front of us and stop being in our feelings because we don't like somebody. That's the corniest thing. That's the lamest thing. That's the dumbest thing that anybody can do. Not listen to somebody just because they don't like this person. Do you know how many children didn't listen to their stepmother or their stepfather just because they didn't like them? You know how many children didn't listen to their parents just because they didn't like their parents? Oh, I'm not going to listen to my brother because I don't like my brother. Do y'all understand where I'm at with this? We got to get out of that mind frame. We got to get out of our own way. And that's Americans as a whole. That's all of us as Americans. It's just not one race or one group of people. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, they got to get out of their own way. We got to get out of our own way as Americans. Salute everybody. I'll see y'all back at 5 o'clock. I'm going to take this last comment, then we're going to get out of here. SAS Beach says, in a true democracy, you vote for the laws that affect you. In a republic, you vote for the people that vote for the laws that affect you. I appreciate that, SAS Beach. Make sure y'all subscribe to my main channel. Make sure y'all subscribe to my main channel, Shank Rock. All right. Salute everybody, and I'll see y'all later.